Hello everyone, welcome once again on a new edition regarding our spiritual battle. Today I would like to proceed on our current talk regarding the Amour of God, and I would like us to really explore the segments of breastplate of righteousness in terms of the significance of that character in our lives as a whole, as a kingdom characters and also ambassadors. What does that mean for us in this journey? I mean, the term righteousness is not a common term that you will, hear people talking about it on their daily activities, but it's only associated within the Christendom, within the Christian community from the spiritual perspective and also in relation to God. Just it describes the character within the ambassadors or kingdom or people in that community. So, but it derived from action of right, doing the right thing, in connection with God. Then it's a righteous act. It's a righteous behavior. It's a righteous action. I mean, that on a whole, it paints a sound picture that God stands out in describing Himself in that light. For one to associate with God, there need to be adopted character that resonate that image of God. Then that is quite sound. So I will also encourage the attitude of righteousness to be part of our journey, because if it remember David's lifestyle, at first he was actually presented with taking that step of faith during the encounter with the Goliath. And remember, this time David have not actually acquired such knowledge that he had towards the later part of his life. But at such young age, he took certain steps, and knowing that there is something about this mystical being that he need to perhaps step out of his comfort zone and try him out or her out to ascertain the authenticity or credibility of who he said he is. And that's when he went out of the way to challenge Goliath. And that's classic example of step of faith. And that's what demonstration of faith is all about. Because faith, in a sense, is about acting out your righteousness act, living it out, demonstrating it within that spectrum. So David did that, and that worked greatly for him. He achieved victory. And that kind of, I'm sure that David must have felt immense upliftment from that victory. He felt now he knows that God is definitely a real being, and in his life he has shown up. So I'm sure that must have given him a huge boost to hold on to. Then throughout his life, you can see even when he messed up, he always acknowledged it, and his teaching, his lifestyle. So he lived that kind of lifestyle to the extent that he was qualified as a man after God's heart. That means apple of God's eyes. That must be the reason why. So all that I see in David in the light of relationship with God, it presents as a righteous act or a righteous habit, a righteous a way of relationship. And I believe that's what we have been called to embrace. We have been called to be exemplar of that picture of the righteousness of God in reality. So I'm very mindful that when we speak about righteousness of God, it's not something that we just put on a table and admire. We meant to be the instrument that live out that righteousness of God among those that we are in a communication, or in a dealings, or in a relationship, in a work sphere. We are encouraged to live it out. Righteousness of God is something that makes us distinctive, makes us peculiar, make us unique, make us special, make us step above others. Remember, David had so many opportunities and so many other ways of dealing with Goliath, but he chose to demonstrate his faith. He chose to try out to see whether he can have a sense of relationship with God, because that experience taught David a lot. So he carries that experience in his life, and that made him took deeper step of faith in the relationship in which he developed a character that resonate that righteousness character. His lifestyle become embodiment of God's nature. He become an instrument whereby God can shine through. So we are encouraged to live a life that resonates the glory of God, and that's what righteousness is. Remember in the book of Hebrew 14:12, where it said, "Where there's no peace or righteousness, or we should pursue, in other words, we should pursue peace and holiness. Without no man shall see God, or woman shall see God." What that means in a practical sense, or in other form, is that righteousness is the key factor in encountering God, in getting the juicy part of God, in getting the heart of God. And I want to be honest with you, my brothers and sisters. I believe that as we mature, even myself, I have actually seen myself enjoying God more as I develop in my character, in the light of kingdom character, in embracing the righteousness of God. I feel that I'm getting better of God. Even when even back in the days, I've seen miracles, supernatural manifestations. It was all good. I have seen God manifest. I have seen wheelchair that confirmed that they had energy, something that began to generate in their system that made them be able to lift their hands. I have